Santa's on his way. Hip hip parade for Christmas vacation. Hey! Got a ton of stuff to celebrate.
Oh yeah, top 3, here we go. Hey everyone, welcome back to Mr. Teach Film Preach. We're gonna continue with the 12 days of Chris Must Watch Films. I'm so excited to talk about this next one. It is for sure one of my favorite Christmas movies ever. Numero 3 today, the bronze medal, third pick for top 12 Christmas movies of all time, goes to National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. The Griswolds are back for their third adventure in this Christmas themed movie, actually spending Christmas at the Griswold family house with Clark and Ellen and their kids and their grandparents and their cousins, and a whole slew of people begin to show up. Clark trying to put on the best Christmas he possibly can for him and his family and to make it great and wonderful, and how he just totally mucks it all up. And that's the simplest version I can give of this movie, and really that is what this story is. It is a simple story of that, and I love that about this movie. Christmas Vacation came out in 1989. It stars Chevy Chase as Clark Griswold, produced and written by the great John Hughes, and it was directed by Jeremiah Chechik. This movie is a great celebration, homage to family at Christmas time, the pains and crazy situations that we find ourselves in at this holiday season, and what we are willing to do to make it a great time for us and our family. Chevy Chase is hysterical as Clark Griswold, my favorite performance of his for sure. He's done a lot of other great roles, don't get me wrong, but the Griswold Family Vacation series is really him at his best. It's him in his most natural. It's him at his funniest, his charming, his sweet, but also kind of an asshole sort of persona, and he blends that well with his comedy, and he has such a wonderful heart of a character, and he really plays that well. This movie really was what I grew up on, and I just love it, and it's such a wonderful time to come back and watch him perform in this role. The wife, Ellen, a young Johnny Galecki from The Big Bang Theory. Juliette Lewis is the daughter in this film. Randy Quaid makes an appearance as the cousin Eddie. Julia Louis-Dreyfus is the neighbor next door who hates Clark Griswold and his family. And I love the back and forth that happens with this neighbor, causing the tree to fall through the window of their house, the icicle flying through the window and destroying their stereo, the bright Christmas lights when they get blinded and when they get shut off and they fall down. Situational humor is so great. This is written by John Hughes, and you can tell because it's got these crazy situations these characters have to navigate. It's got these lovable characters that you'd like to root for. It's set at Christmas time, and of course it's in Chicago. If it's in the Chicago, Illinois, you know it's by John Hughes. The comedy is so great in this film. Most scenes in this movie are spot on and just so great with their comedic timing from the actors and their performances, but also the writing and the situations they get into and how they show it. This movie isn't really supposed to be taken that seriously, and it knows that it's just trying to be ridiculous for the sake of being ridiculous. It feels like it could be a Saturday Night Live sketch, but it also has a little bit more heart and warmth to that. But it's such a great combination of the sarcastic humor of these lovable characters and these extreme situations that they find themselves in. Or cutting down their own Christmas tree, setting that up, or the whole situation with the lights and setting up all the lights on his house. I love that scene where he's stapling everything. And he's stapling his hand to the roof and to the lights, and he's falling off the ladder. Or when he's trying to figure out why it's not lighting and the lights aren't happening when he plugs them in. Joy to the world! And nothing happens. Perfect humor. Switch in the garage that turns it on. Hallelujah! Hallelujah!
Oh my God!
Jason reference with the chainsaw and his mask, to getting stuck in the attic and going through old films and trying to stay warm. He gets locked up in the attic. and cousin Eddie coming in and parking his motorhome, gas into the sewage line, which explodes at the end. Cops come and raid the house near the end of the film. They kidnap his boss. They go sledding and he goes 1,000 miles like a rocket ship on his sled. Just so many great, awesome comedic scenes in this movie, and it would take too long to go through every single one of them, but it is worth a watch just to see the comedy being played out in this film. I feel like this movie is A Christmas Story. It's like that great 1983 film, A Christmas Story, which I've already reviewed. This one's like the adult version of it. The preparations to make Christmas great. It's still very funny, very lighthearted and comedic, but it also tackles kind of a darker side of Christmas and shows that in a really funny and comedic way. While I love this film and I think it's a really great Christmas movie, and it is definitely one of my top 3 Christmas films I come back and watch every single year, but I have to say it is not a perfect movie. I'm not saying that this is an award-winning film, and I don't even think it's really better than a couple of the other movies that I've already talked about. In fact, it's probably a little bit on the lower end of the sense that there's not much of a plot to this movie besides a family just trying to survive Christmas. Similar to A Christmas Story in that way, it's just a little bit of updated humor and it's more of a modern take on Christmas, but it also feels like a repeated film in some ways. I'm not saying that that's bad because they do a good job of the interpretation of it and they do a really great job executing the film, but it feels a bit recycled. The story is kind of lacking at times, and they have a lot of storylines happening. They have the thing with the neighbors, and he's got the thing with the parents and the grandparents coming to visit, the boss trying to make a great Christmas bonus and dealing with the boss and all that. Got cousin Eddie, who is really intruding on his time and being a pain in the ass to him and his family. The cops come in. Sometimes this film feels so muddled, it's hard to kind of keep track what's important in this film. Not what's happening, but what's important in this movie. The pacing of this film kind of goes up and down at times a little bit too much, where like the first 25, 30 minutes of this film just takes off and it's great, and that great Christmas Vacation theme song. When cousin Eddie shows up, it veers off course. And I think that's what I think about this movie, is that it meanders its story so much that us as audience aren't quite sure where we're going with this film. Sometimes it's really hard to grasp onto what this film was trying to say. I think its intentions were clear, that they wanted to make a laugh out loud film, but there's just sometimes the message behind it was ambiguous. What this film does really well is it laugh out loud, mile a minute film. I think every 30 seconds there is some sort of comedy, or there's something that's making me laugh out loud or at least chuckle. And that is very hard to do. And this film really does a great job of making those jokes flow very quickly and very often. The payoffs are great. The set pieces are fantastic. Even though most of it is set at his house, they use it really well. It doesn't really have much to say otherwise than just being a film about family time at Christmas. I have to say, if Christmas was like this for me and my family, I would hate Christmas too. There's way too many people. It's overcrowded. There's people that are they're awful characters sometimes. The family can be terrible. Besides his wife and his kids, like everyone else in the film are awful people. Because if bad things happen to these characters, you don't feel too bad about it. And you're like, well, they kind of brought it upon themselves. But sometimes that removes us as the audience from the film. It doesn't allow us to really connect with the characters. But put that all aside, this film is an absolute riot of a film. It's a great Christmas movie. It's one of my favorites. It's such a wonderful ride. There's some great humor. There's some great set pieces. There's some fantastic action, hilarious comedic moments, and overall, a great cast. The story's lacking a bit at times, and it meanders from what it's trying to say. If you're just looking for a hilarious film to watch at Christmas time, and that is maybe a little bit more than a G-rated Christmas film, but not quite rated R, this is a perfect fit for you guys. So go check it out. I love this film. I'm going to go ahead and give National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation a B+.
Look him straight in the eye, and I want to tell him what a cheap, lying, no-good, rotten, four-flushing, low-life, snake-licking, dirt-eating, inbred, overstuffed, ignorant, blood-sucking, dog-kissing, brainless, dickless, hopeless, heartless, fat-ass, bug-eyed, stiff-legged, spotty-lipped, worm-headed sack of monkey shit he is. Where's the Tylenol?
I'm just kind of sad that it ends because you're having such a great time in this movie and it never really feels like you get too bogged down. You're kind of wrapped up in the fun and spirit and energy of this Christmas film. If you like this video, click like down below, subscribe. I know some people hate Clark Griswold, they may not connect with him. I really think it is a great Christmas classic, and it'll be one that I continue to watch for a very long time to come. Have a great day. Merry Christmas and happy holidays to your family and to you. And as always, let's get taught.
It's